Well, we've not done this in a while, but let's have some fun and predict this weekend's round of Championship games. Starting at Ewood Park, a pretty juicy one on Friday night as Blackburn host Preston in a derby to which the name escapes me. It might be related to a motorway of some kind. But two teams who are very much in different form. Blackburn have lost 4 from 5 and are in danger of being dragged into a playoff chasing pack below. Preston have only lost 1 of their last 6 and are starting to pick up points pretty convincingly under Paul Heckingbottom. So for me, this is a pretty simple one to predict. I feel like Preston have had good form in this fixture in recent memory. I don't know why. I always just, when they go to Ewood Park, my visions are of them winning and playing well. Don't know if that's very, very selective or if there is some truth to that, but I just have a feeling they will continue Blackburn's poor run, and for that reason, I'm going for a narrow win. Blackburn 1, Preston 2. To the Kazam next as Oxford play Bristol City. Two teams who are in very, very good form, especially on home soil. Oxford have won 5 and drew 3 under Gary Rowett. An outstanding start for him down at the Kazam. And despite Bristol City doing pretty well at home, they've not been that great away. They're one of many teams, I feel like, this season who are very Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to their home form. Compared to their away form, they've not won in any of their last 7 away games, Bristol City. So I have a feeling this wonderful, wonderful manager bounce, or maybe it is just the start of a brand new Oxford under Gary Rowett. I think the ball's going to keep on rolling, and I think they're going to pick up another 3 points here. I'm going to go for the same score. The other way, though, I'm going to go Oxford 2, Bristol City 1. To home park now as Plymouth host West Brom. Now, Plymouth are a strange team. They got walloped at home by Burnley, then they put in a really promising performance and got a point from the Stadium of Light, which is an unbelievable result. And their luck has been a lot better at home than it has been away. So I don't know if this is the start of a turnaround under their new manager, or if they'll drop a 5-0 performance like they did at home. It's really, really difficult to judge where Plymouth are at this moment under this new manager, and equally on the other side, new manager at West Brom in Tony Mowbray. But I'm so confident in that appointment. I think he's going to do wonders for them. They obviously put 5 past Pompey at the weekend and will be in tremendous goal-scoring form, I'm sure. So taking the confidence from that, I think they're going to continue to score goals here, and I think they'll win once again. I'm going to go Plymouth 1, West Brom 3. To the Vic now, which, well, last time I was doing these predictions, a good few weeks back now, it was a fortress, but it's not really become that now. In fact, all of Watford's form, both home and away, has kind of gone south. You know, they've lost 6 from 7 and are really entering a bit of a rough patch right now. But despite Norwich having a fantastic win last time out at home, they're exactly like Bristol City, another side who are pretty good away, but absolutely hopeless on the road. Norwich have only won 1 of their last 11 away games in the Championship. So on the road, they never do well. Watford just aren't doing well in general. So I think you know where this one is going. I'm going to go straight down the middle here. I can't make an argument for either side winning this one. So I'm going to go Watford 1, Norwich 1. To Derby now, who are in trouble. Another team who, since I last did a prediction video, have nosedived towards the bottom end of the Championship. And they're in really, really bad form. Derby, they've lost their last 6. And I just don't know where their turnaround in form is going to come from at the moment. And I'd be shocked if it came in the form of a result over Sheffield United. Now, don't get me wrong, Derby can produce at home. We've seen that this season. So I feel a lot more confident of that happening than if the fixture was reversed at Bramall Lane. But following Sheffield United's 3-0 defeat against Hull at home, I think they'll be demanding a pretty big response. And going to Pride Park, facing a Derby side whose confidence will no doubt be shot, is a perfect chance for Sheffield United to get back on track, and they've done that most of the times this season when they have dropped points. So I think it would be a bit of a reach for me to predict anything other than Sheffield United win, and that's why I've gone Derby 0, Sheffield United 2. To Hull now, and again, two teams who are tough to split, you would say. Hull, I think, have definitely picked up under Ruben Sellers, but a lot more of their joys come away from home instead of at home, so that's still something I feel like they need to crack under Sellers. And I wouldn't say things are diabolical at Stoke either. They're not losing all that many games, they're drawing quite a lot, but they haven't quite got going under Robins, and they still, I think, only have one win in 15, which is quite crazy. So a bit like Watford and Norwich, I'm struggling to think of an argument to which one team will beat the other. I think Stoke could equally rock up there and win, and Hull could equally find a home victory under Sellers. So again, call it boring, call it safe, right down the middle, same scoreline. Hull 1, Stoke 1. To Ellen Road now, and well, there's a bit of inevitability when Leeds are at home. Cardiff are the latest victims to come to Ellen Road, you could say. Now listen, Cardiff have had a fantastic turnaround in form, and Omar Izza deserves immense credit for what he's gotten out this Cardiff side over the last few games. Given his rough start, this is more like what we expected off of the back of his interim spell in charge, but Leeds United are the best home team in the Championship by a mile. They've won 12 of their 15 home games. They are chance creators, they are goal scorers, and they usually just dominate a team until they tap out at Ellen Road, and that's why you won't be surprised to hear I'm backing them to pick up a pretty solid victory here. I'm not going to go too harsh on Cardiff, as I think they've been very good of late, but I still think Leeds will score a few goals. I'm going to go Leeds 3, Cardiff City 0. Millwall QPR is a tough one because QPR were on an absolute roll until they lost to Sheffield Wednesday, and that's not a pun right there. So I don't know how they'll react to that defeat and whether that has just halted that great run. They might go through a bit of a up and down spell because many teams in their position have done that already. Blackburn have done that this season. Their very opponents, Millwall, had a similar purple patch that dissolved into mediocrity after a few weeks. So I'm not as certain QPR will get right back on the horse here, you could say. And Millwall, well, talk of the form they were in at one point in the league where they were 1-0ing everybody. They've been 1-0ing everyone in the last two games as well. They're getting back to clean sheets, winning narrowly, doing what they were doing so well in arguably their best spell of the season. And I'm going to back them to do it again. I am. I'm feeling the 1-0er at the Den, and I'm feeling that that's what Millwall have got back to doing. So again, if the fixture was reversed and it was at Loftus Road, I think I'd fancy QPR, but Millwall at the Den in their current form, I'm going to back them. Millwall 1, QPR 0. Portsmouth Burnley now, an interesting game because Pompey's home form of late was outstanding until they lost 1-0 to Millwall in midweek. There's a segue for you. So I don't want to get too reactive over that Pompey home defeat because prior to that I think they'd won 6 in 7 or something ridiculous at home, so I don't think one narrow defeat is going to knock them all that much, but they're going up against the best defence I think it's safe to say at this stage we've ever seen at Championship level. Now, it is at the detriment of Burnley and the fact that they are an atrociously boring team to watch at times, and I'm not going to expect this game to have any fireworks, so I'm going to go for the same scoreline as to what plagued Pompey against Millwall in midweek. I think Burnley are a side, they've only conceded 9 goals. It's quite honestly a ridiculous record, so why would I expect them to concede to a team down the bottom end of the league table? So for me, I think this has got narrow, scrappy, you'll take it. Burnley 1-0 win written all over it, so Pompey 0, Burnley 1. Sheffield Wednesday host Luton down at Hillsborough. Now, this is more on Luton's awful away form for me because Sheffield Wednesday are still a fairly inconsistent side who win, draw, loss, draw, win. Still haven't really seen any convincing run of results from Sheffield Wednesday yet. But I feel like when Luton come to town, you've got a big chance. Listen, Luton have lost 6 of the last 7, so their overall form isn't great, but they are the joint worst away side in the league. They have the same number of points on the road as Plymouth, and we all know how bad Plymouth have been on the road this season, so Luton away are a write-off. 1 win, 1 draw, 12 defeats. I'm sorry, I can't predict anything other than a Luton defeat, and it quite honestly would be a disappointing result if Sheffield Wednesday didn't win, given Luton's form on the road. So I'm going to go with a solid win for Sheffield Wednesday. Sheff Wed 2, Luton 0. Down to Swansea, where maybe a bit of pressure's building at the moment. You've got one team where the pressure is maybe starting to mount a bit with recent results and goals conceded, whereas the visitors have got a manager who seems to be finding his feet and finding form down at the CBS. That will pretty much tell you which way I think this game is going to swing, and I would be surprised if it's not a Coventry victory. Swansea's issues have been that they've conceded a ton of goals of late. I don't know how many they'll concede here, but I just feel like with their form at the moment, confidence probably isn't great. Coventry will come to town feeling like absolutely $1 million that they can beat anybody, I'm sure. So that's why I'm going to back the away side to keep this great run going, and I'm going to go Swansea 1, Coventry 2. And finally, on Monday night at the Riverside Stadium, I'll be there for the Teeswear Derby. Is a derby, isn't a derby, depends on the outcome derby. And obviously, as always, I've done a full preview on the channel, going deep into this game, going deep into Sunderland's form, previewing both teams, giving my predictions. So if you want to find a more in-depth version of this, please go and check that out. But I'm going to say what I said on my channel in that video. I'm going to say what I said on Black Cats TV when I jumped on their channel. I'm also going to say what I said on the Boro Breakdown podcast. Boro 1, Sunderland 1. I don't know what Boro team's going to turn up. So for that reason, it could be the Boro team that beat West Brom a week or so ago. It could be the Boro that went and threw a game away at Preston. You just don't know. Sunderland, they themselves have had a bit of an issue with dropping points lately. And if they do have a slight weakness in their game, it's certainly on the road. It's definitely not at home. So this is one of them games where it could go any way whatsoever. So I've played it safe down the middle, and I think there'll be a draw. So as I say, Boro 1, Sunderland 1. But what do you think? Let me know your predictions for this weekend in the comment section below. And as always, when we do get a chance, when there is a week gap between games, we usually try and drop a prediction video in unless something crazy is going on elsewhere, to which there is. There's loads of crazy transfer stuff happening at Boro, which I think might take up my weekend before we're back to review the Boro-Sunderland game on Tuesday. That's going to be separate from my Championship Roundup video, because with Boro and me reviewing that game in its own video, of course, I will be back on Sunday to review all of the other 11 games that have happened in the Championship. If you want to see my thoughts on Boro-Sunderland, check back on Tuesday in my Project Boro reviewing show. But until then, like the video if you've enjoyed it. As I say, subscribe. We do round up every round of Championship games and do predictions as and when we can like this. And comment below leaving me your thoughts and predictions on your team as well. But until next time, guys, do take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.